Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice. And by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful day at Rogers Center, 18 degrees. The roof is wide open, good crowd on hand, and the Mariners are in town. They shut out the Blue Jays last night behind Felix Hernandez. Eric Wedge's Mariners are trying to get things turned around. And Eric Wedge has done a good job with this ball club. Take a look at the lineup for Seattle. Saunders, Seager, Morales, top of the order. Michael Morris, the cleanup hitter, has a 6-game hit streak, and over that hit streak, he's pounded out 3 home runs and driven in 4 runs. He is in right field. Raul Ibanez did not play in the game last night. He's at DH tonight because of those numbers right there. Going up against R.A. Dickey, he's at .357 with 3 homers and 6 RBIs, and R.A. Dickey is looking to shut down the Mariners here this afternoon.
Well, I think, it's going to be important for him to get off to, quick start here, first inning, and, try to get it down 1, 2, 3 in order. Let's see if that offense can come back in here and get going early in the game.
Dickey just 2-4 for the season. Would love to find the groove, and it's a gorgeous day to play baseball. Let's take a look at the defense. Sun could be an issue here this afternoon. It's a bright, sunny day. Davis, Rasmussen, Bautista in the outfield. On the infield, it's Lori and Kawasaki on the left side. Estouris and Encarnacion on the right side, and Henry Blanco, as he's done in all but one of Dickey's starts, is behind the plate to handle that knuckleball. We talk about the sun, and it is a cloudless day in southern Ontario, and Rajay Davis gets the start in left. All of the fielders are going to have to converge on anything in the air because it's going to be a challenge for those pop-ups looking up into that brilliant sun. And there are no clouds to give you any depth perception, so it's what they call a high sky.
Or that deep sky that, wearing sunglasses. I mean, these guys have got to, got to help each other out, pick up ball as soon as it's off the bat.
First day game with the roof open, and everybody is aware that they're going to pay attention. You can see one last check from Kawasaki. Here's the first pitch of the ball game to Michael Saunders. It misses outside. We are underway. Saunders was 0 for 3 in the game last night. He scored a run and struck out twice. There's a ball hit to right and deep, and this ball is gone. Michael Saunders gets the Mariners off and running. His 3rd home run of the season, and just like that, it's 1-0.
Yep. Yeah, you can see here that's a 4-seam fastball trying to get ahead of the hitter right here. And, I mean, it's just right down the middle of the plate, middle of the thighs, and Saunders did exactly what he's supposed to do with it.
There's the knuckleball that misses. Dickey had problems with the fingernail when he made the start on April 7th against the Red Sox, and they jumped all over him. He tried to work with the fastball, and it just wasn't a good way to approach it. Kyle Seager had a big night last night. He was 3 for 4, his average up over 300. He homered in the 4th off of Ricky Romero. He has really blossomed into one of the good young hitters in the game today. Coming into this game, we mentioned his 300 average, but he also has 15 extra base hits.
So I think that pitch right there is what Dickey was trying to do with Saunders earlier. Is good fastball down away.
Full count. There's a knuckleball line to left. Davis right there in his tracks makes the catch. 1 down. R.A. Dickey was really kind of late to go down for his warm-ups. It was uncharacteristic. We had noticed that generally he's probably 20, 22 minutes when he leaves the dugout before 1 o'clock. And today it was about 15 to. He made his way down the bullpen, but obviously we're not privy to any information about any ailments he might be dealing with other than the one he's dealt with all year.
Yeah, the back issue, but you know, it might be just a situation where RA's looking at it saying, I'm just going to try to change something up today, and you know, instead of going down there, you know, early, go down a little bit later.
Kendrys Morales is the first baseman this afternoon. He was the DH in last night's game. Bouncing ball. Dickey's a great fielder. He makes a play and tosses to first for the out. 2 down. Of course, R.A. Dickey, always aware that he's going to be that extra infielder because he's going to get so many balls hit like this.
Oh, absolutely. And you can tell just how quick he reacted to that ball off the plate there. I mean, if he doesn't make the play, that's a base hit. So, I mean, his reaction was excellent on that.
Michael Morris, the right fielder. Off the plate inside. Morris extended his hit streak last night. He was 1 for 4 in the ball game. Had a couple of strikeouts. Gave a rip at that knuckleball. Off the end of the bat. Dickey's ahead 1-2. Morris in his second go-around with the Mariners was acquired in a trade from the Nationals and bounces this ball towards short. Big hop for Kawasaki, and Dickey's out of the first. Blue Jays fall behind 1-0. Top of the order, Brett Laurie, the leadoff man. Melky Cabrera today the DH, and then the home run hitter Jose Bautista. Jays down 1-0. Gibbons just to come back. They're down early 1-0, and let's take a look at Blue Jays lineup. Top of the order, Brett Laurie, Melky Cabrera, and Jose Bautista. And when you think about Colby Erasmus, he has been swinging the bat so well here at Rogers Center. A .294 average, 3 homers and 7 RBIs. He's been bumped up to the 5th spot. Rajai Davis played with Oakland, so he got to face the Mariners a lot in those days, and he's got a good batting average at .310 with 19 steals. So hopefully that combination will get something going against a very tough Hisashi Iwakuma.
Yes, I'll tell you, he is one of those guys like Hernandez last night, you know, just not going to give up a lot of runs. He's been really spotting his fastball, good split finger, and just, you know, doing what a pitcher's supposed to do out there, get ahead of hitters, get people out.
His numbers are ridiculous. Look at the opponent's batting average, both under 200 against righties and left-handers. Brett Laurie will try to get something going here. Pitch misses outside. Laurie had his hit streak snapped last night. He was 0 for 4, reached on an error in the 6th, struck out and grounded out twice. think one thing the Blue Jays have to avoid is that feeling that they can do it with one swing of the bat. You just need to make Iwakuma work.
Absolutely. I think, putting some pressure on the opposition is what it's all about. Last night we saw, Hernandez just, I think at most face four people in an inning. So get on base, start putting some pressure on these opposing pitchers, and you see what happens. See what they're going to do.
Hernandez with 8 strong innings, and he was closed out by Tom Wilhelmsen. Hernandez didn't walk a batter and struck out 7. Laurie's got a good eye early in this game. All those pitches are borderline outside strikes, but the count's in his favor, 3-1. Another pitch away. Iwakuma has great command.
Yes, he does. And I tell you, that's, I think, something that's really improved for him this year is the fact that he is absolutely, spotting that fastball.
Fouled off Kelly Shopik's mask. Laurie has done a pretty good job in the leadoff spot. He seems to really get into the ball game early. Loves the fact that he always comes to the plate in the first inning. Last year, he was the leadoff man 61 times. Ball goes back to the screen. Laurie will take first. Leadoff walk for Brent Laurie. Let's take a look at the Mariners defense. It's a tight defense. They've committed just 11 errors. Hendy Chavez starts in left field this afternoon. Canadian Michael Saunders is terrific in center. Morrison right. Kyle Seager was very busy last night, handling a lot of action at third. Robert Andino starts at short. Ackley at second, and Morales is the first baseman. Kelly Shopik draws the starting nod behind the plate this afternoon. Michael Saunders, a terrific center fielder, and has the ability to range far and wide. He's got great speed. He too obviously concerned about the bright sun here at Rogers Center. Melky Cabrera goes after the first pitch and rips it into left. Well, the first 2 reach against Iwakuma. A leadoff walk and a single. So Bautista will step to the plate with 2 on, something that hasn't happened a lot for him.
Well, right there, this is just a good piece of hitting right here. Fastball down away, and Milky just takes it and goes out to left field with it, and that's what you're supposed to with that pitch. You try to pull it, that could be a rollover ground ball double play. So good piece of hitting by Milky right there.
Blue Jays don't have a lot of experience against Iwakuma. We mentioned he started and beat them on July 30th last year in Seattle at a 13 strikeout game. Nobody out. Well, it has looked as though Iwakuma is going to try to master the outside corner early in this ballgame. Bautista bloused his socks today up around the knees with a different look, maybe trying to change the team's fortunes. Popped up into right. Michael Morris coming in, shading his eyes from the sun, and makes the catch. That's the first out of the inning. Did you have an idea about a starter early in the game as far as a game plan? Could you pick it up how a starter wanted to go about things?
I think you do. You just get that feeling when he comes out of that bullpen. You know exactly how he wants to go about things. If he wants to work somebody away, or going in. So it's exactly what you said. He is definitely looking to pitch a lot of people away today.
Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin went 0 for 4 last night, a pair of strikeouts, and he grounded into a double play. Another pitch away. This one misses. Nine home runs for Encarnacion. Now the pop-up Shallow center. Ackley looking up, battling the sun. He can't see it. All hands are safe, and there's that sun we were talking about. He looked up into that sun, and once he took a look at that, he couldn't find the baseball, and you could see he was overmatched once that ball got up into the air.
You can see him right there. He just, he was dancing underneath that thing, and he probably should have been hollering out, I've lost it, and I think he was a little late saying that.
Base runners have to hold, of course, and once you see that the infielder's in trouble, Melky Cabrera bounces towards second and gets there safely, so the bases are loaded. Colby Rasmus, this is why he was moved into the 5th spot. Good rip on a fastball. This is the Encarnacion pop-up, and you can see he hit it on the end of the bat, and he got a fistful of bees.
I think that's exactly what it was, the sting of the bees on the end of the bat.
Like a splitter right there.
That did, or just really a good two-seam fastball. It had a lot of movement on it, and still getting up there about 88 miles an hour on that pitch, so...
Iwakuma will throw fastball, curveball, slider, and a forkball. He throws that good split finger pitch. Rasmus in a hole, 0-2. And he strikes out. Iwakuma, another splitter, and that one gets a big second out. And Iwakuma has been on a roll. When you go back to last year, he finished up the season very strong. Went 6-2 over his last 9 starts, but you go back 20 starts, Dwayne, he's been as good as anybody in baseball.
Well, the stat that jumps out at me right there is that 27 walks, 111 strikeouts. I mean, it's just, he's not going to get beat by walking people, and that to me, I think is where he's improved tremendously, is not allowing that freebie on base.
Rajay Davis, the left fielder this afternoon. Breaking ball for a strike. Davis has a home run against Iwakuma. He's 1 for 4 against the Mariners right-hander. We mentioned he carries a .300 career average against the Mariners. Blue Jays are desperate for a 2-out hit.
If anything, just put the ball in play. Just put some pressure on that defense, put some pressure on that pitcher to make something happen.
Bases are loaded. Rajay Davis behind 0-2. He stays alive. The bats on ice right here on this current homestand. They've hit just over 200, but look at the runners with scoring position average. Runners in scoring position, they've hit just 4 for 20. And of course, they are 0 for 1 already this afternoon. Iwakuma strikes out Davis. The Blue Jays will leave the bases loaded. Iwakuma's been hot, and he pitches out of an early jam with a couple of strikeouts. Another good splitter, and Davis ends the inning. last night and pitched, went 4 innings. And this is earlier this morning. He was out with Dane Johnson, the roving pitching instructor, and Pete Walker. And Dwayne, what were they trying to accomplish today?
Well, I think what they're really trying to do is just reiterate how he needs to change that delivery and change his mechanics and just get that good muscle memory going back again, because, you know, he's trying something new, and you can see how he's just really slow and deliberate trying to go through that motion to duplicate it time and time again.
They went from the field to the bullpen and did more work on his mechanics after that. And that's something Ricky has done on a regular basis. Every time he throws off the mound, he goes back and throws on flat ground the next day just to
get
some muscle memory.
Exactly.
Ball and a strike. Raul Ibanez, a veteran, back with Seattle. He is in his second go around with the Mariners, and Ibanez, boy, what a year he had for the Yankees last season.
A lot of timely hits.
Upstairs, it's 1-2. Ibanez is 41 years old. He's got over 15 years of big league service. He had some clutch hits. A 2-homer game on the 20th of September against the A's down the pennant race, and the first one was a pinch hit home run, and then he had another one late in the ball game, and he got big hits. Another game against the Red Sox. Again, the first Yankee to hit a game-tying home run in the 9th, and then a walk-off hit in extra innings. Encarnacion will flip to Dickey covering first. Ibanez is retired.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful day on Lake Ontario. A lot of the people are out boating for the first time this year. Kelly Shopik went to the plate and decided he needed a different bat. Shopik is the backup player to Jesus Montero, and he's been a good player throughout his career. Former second-round pick of the Boston Red Sox. Shopik played baseball at Baylor University and was actually the Johnny Bench Award winner in 2001 as the best catcher in college baseball.
Wow. I think he went up there with a fastball bat and wanted to go back and get a knuckleball bat. So
yep, he'd stepped in the box, looked out there, and said, "Oop, got the wrong bat."
Got the wrong lumber today.
One down. Michael Saunders, a leadoff home run, has given the Mariners a 1-0 lead. Good job by Blanco to catch that ball and give Ed Hickox a pretty good look at it. And this is a challenge. We talk about it often. Not only is it tough to catch, it's tough on the umpire.
Absolutely. And that's something Blanco did a great job right there. He didn't take that pitch away from Dickey. He gave it to Dickey.
And Dickey responds by striking out Shopik. Dickey is now set down 5 straight.
That right there is just a really good pitch right there. It's the same one. You can see that ball just barely rotating. The more that knuckleball rotates, the less it's going to move. So, I mean, you see about 1 or 2 little rotations to home plate, it's going to be a good knuckleball.
And sailed up and into Dustin Ackley. Ackley's the second baseman. He had an RBI single in the 4th inning. Drove in the 3rd run of the inning off Ricky Romero. He finished up 2 for 4 on the night. Now Dickey's seemed to have found his release point early here.
Yes, that's very important for him. You know, find that really good release point where that ball is going to go where he thinks it's going to go every time.
Good bounce back inning for R.A. Dickey. He retires the Mariners in order and strikes out 2. Isturis, Blanco, and Kawasaki when we come back. There on the CN Tower to walk around the
That will never happen. I know you did it, Buck, and that will never happen.
It's been a tough week for the Blue Jays, and look at the pitchers they've had to deal with. John Lester, Clay Buchholz, and Felix Hernandez. Wednesday, Lester gave up a run on 4 hits. Clay Buchholz, Thursday, a run on 7 hits. And Friday, no runs on 5 hits through 8 innings off Hernandez. But you know what? It's the big league. You gotta face these guys, and you got to figure out a way to score some runs against them.
Exactly. Sometimes that rotation just falls to where you're going to face number 1, 2, and 3, and it doesn't matter. You got to find a way to get guys on base and score runs.
Meister Isturis fouls it off. Blue Jays had Iwakuma on the ropes in the first. Bases loaded, 1 out, and then he struck out Rasmus and Davis to end the threat. Bottom of third of the lineup. Iwakuma is 32 years old. This is his second season in the major leagues. He pitched for Kinsetsu in Osaka, Japan, and then moved to Rakuten. He spent 11 years in the Japanese major leagues. And I'll tell you what, they took a while to give him that role in the starting rotation, but once he got it, he really took off. Pitched very well for them.
It was almost like I was meant to be here, and he just has really good command. I mean, that's something that I think a lot of these Japanese pitchers you see will have, that control, that command. But I mean, here's a guy that has a good one to learn from too in Hernandez. So,
yep, you can learn a lot just by osmosis being around Felix Hernandez. Isturis stays alive as he fights it off. Iwakuma made 16 starts a year ago. He went 8-4 with a .265 earned run average. He had the best ERA by a rookie starter in franchise history, 2.67. Wow.
No, you can tell that. I mean, he doesn't give up runs, and he's and this is something uncharacteristic of him right now. Walking guys, but this is what you need to do is put some pressure on this guy to make him throw strikes.
Fans, if you want your baseball questions answered by our team of experts, email asktheexperts@sportsnet.ca. And keep your eye out for the Home Hardware Ask the Expert segment later on in the game. So Isturis takes the walk, second walk issued by Iwakuma. Now Henry Blanco, the catcher, goes after the first pitch. Blanco's showing bunt and pulls the bat back. You might expect the Blue Jays to be a little aggressive here. Destouris isn't the fastest base runner they have, but just try to create an opening, move some infielders, and see if you can't play first and third, maybe with a hit and run.
Just making something happen, and that's something the offense needs to start doing right now, is make something happen.
Ball and a strike. Iwakuma thinks that something might be up. It's a good time to run, just because you expect Iwakuma to throw it over. Blanco can put it in play. Shopik's got a strong throwing arm. Not going, shows bunt and takes the ball. So John Gibbons figures that they have a better opportunity maybe to sacrifice Destouris into scoring position. But runs have been so tough to come by, you go against the book.
You almost have to go against the book here. Like I said, the offense has got to try to find a way to manufacture some runs, get some tallies up on the board, give your pitcher a chance to to win ball games.
Bunts this one in the air, and it's going to get down in foul ground. Blanco couldn't get the bunt down in fair territory. So now it's 2-2. Blanco looking down to Luis Rivera, see if they will switch. Maybe play hit and run right here on a 2-2 pitch. Blue Jays in last night's game grounded into 2 double plays and lined into a third. So you might start the runner just to avoid that possibility. Not going. Ground ball. Seager at third, second for 1. Offline at first, and Morales tags Blanco. Blanco didn't sense the tag, so he is asking Lance Barksdale at first, so wait a minute, he didn't tag me. Now John Gibbons will come out of the dugout. He checked with Barksdale. The man, it looked like he was past him before he swiped that glove at him.
Yeah, it did look like he was past him. We're going to have the luxury of having this on the replay here, and I'm going to say the way Blanco reacted, he didn't touch him.
He didn't come close to him, and it's very difficult for a fielder to catch a runner going past you with that glove. You just can't move the glove quick enough.
You got to make the catch, and then you got to make the tag, and there's no way. Well, we have that luxury of seeing that replay, but just by Blanco's reaction, you can almost tell he said he didn't touch me.
It's easier for a fielder to go around the other way where the glove is coming toward the runner as opposed to trying to catch up to him. So the Blue Jays lose that call, and now there are 2 outs for the number 9 hitter, Munenori Kawasaki. Kawasaki played last year with the Mariners. Two outs. No swing, said Jim Joyce, who's down at third this afternoon. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Because these two were teammates, Iwakuma and Kawasaki, a year ago. Bouncing ball. Ackley takes the short hop. Goes in a hurry, and after a leadoff walk, once again, Iwakuma gets a double play and a ground out. 2013 season. The final race before this month's Indianapolis 500. The Sao Paulo Indy 300 tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern on Sportsnet 1. Great day for fans here at Rogers Center, and they have really come out in droves, and that center field, outfield area has really turned into a popular destination here at Rogers Center. Can't ask for a better vantage point, and young fans have really made an effort to meet and enjoy a great baseball game out there in center field. Andy Chavez, the veteran, gets a start in left field this afternoon. Takes the first pitch strike. R.A. Dickey retired to side in order in the second. He's retired 6 straight after the leadoff home run to Michael Saunders. Well, that's good knuckleball right there. That one danced right underneath Chavez's back.
That one there got my attention a little bit too. I'm wondering how Blanco held on to it.
Chavez swings and misses, and now he will go to first. He didn't realize that Blanco had dropped the ball, but throw to first. That's 3 straight strikeouts for Dickey. Well, it's not been his knuckleball that's been a real problem. It's the fact that the home run has been a problem. Even Saunders' home run was a fastball.
Fastball, exactly. And, you know, the pitch before that one, he had ball going down and into that lefty. That one there rode up and away. I tell you, I mean, to hit this, hitter's got to, you know, stay with it as long as he possibly can. And I tell you what, when Dickey's on, like we said in the pregame, he's almost unhittable.
Robert Andino, the shortstop, he and Brendan Ryan have been splitting duties at shortstop. Andino came from the Orioles. There's Ryan talking about that knuckleball on the bench.
Talking about that, he goes, he got that one that dips, he got that one that rides up too. So I mean, you got to look for both of them.
Ground ball. Brett Laurie from third throws on the run right on the money.
I mean, there's a good shot at Brett coming in on this ball, catching it on, you know, didn't want to get the short hop, caught the big hop on the run, momentum going toward it. Excellent play. Brett's been playing excellent defense here as of late.
Back to the top of the order. Saunders hit the home run and gets the knuckler for a strike. Second career leadoff home run for Saunders.
I don't think he is going to give him another fastball.
No.
He's 0-2 on him right now, and I guarantee you he's going to throw, if he has to, he's going to throw 17 knuckleballs at him.
He's got a good knuckler working right now.
They showed Ryan on the bench. He does. He has a dipping one, the riding one, the cutting one.
That's looped into left field. Rajay Davis nearly in his tracks. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for R.A. Dickey. Brad Laurie will get another shot. He reached with a leadoff walk. Melky Cabrera's already had a single, and then Jose Bautista. look back at the Toronto Blue Jays and their 1993 World Series title. The magazine's on newsstands now. Great back-to-back World Series champions, and 93 was a big season, and our partner in the booth today, Dwayne Ward, was a big part of that. 45 saves and a 12.2 strikeout per 9 inning rate, a whip just over 1. And Porter, you were rough on hitters then, man. Well, under 200 average.
Well, you know what? Either they were going to take advantage of me or I'm going to take advantage of them. So it worked out good that year for all of us.
They had quite a starting rotation of Guzman, Hinkins, Stottlemyre, Stewart, and Morris. And then you, of course, with the closer. Brett Laurie takes the ball. Let me ask you about the makeup of that team after coming off the World Series the previous year. What was the driving force behind the 93 team?
You know what, I think, after losing as many players as we did from the 92 to 93 year, I think it was more just that inner pride saying, you know what, we can still win even though we don't have the same guys here.
Brett Laurie drives it into right center, but Michael Saunders with those long strides eats up a lot of ground. 1 out. You did lose a lot of players from 92 to 93, but you also got some interesting players for that 93 season coming in.
Yes, we picked up, we lost some quality, but we also picked up quality coming in for that 93 year. So, I mean, it was, you lose Dave Winfield, you pick up Paul Molitor. Pretty good swap right there. But, to me, I think everybody's main objective still that year was to go out and win ball games and try to do the same thing we did in 92.
Probably didn't hurt that you had some guys that didn't experience the World Series in that previous season.
Yes, it did. And, that drive to win again, to want to go out there and get back to something that we'd been into previous.
Melky Cabrera singled to left field on the first pitch he saw back in the first. He fouls off that off-speed pitch. Nelke has not had the type of start he expected. Coming off a year last year, he had 159 hits with the Giants. Chases that splitter down and away, and that's a wicked pitch. Fans, it's time for a BlackBerry Sneak Peek Stat of the Game, brought to you by the new BlackBerry Z10, built to keep you moving.
Well, here you see exactly what he is doing. 2012 to 2013, this is him just getting command of his fastball and being able to spot it. And you're seeing a lot of that today, where he's working in, or he's working away, but he's hitting his spots every time he throws it.
And misses with that breaking ball to Bautista. But yeah, Iwakuma showed us early he wanted to establish that fastball command, and it makes the secondary pitches all that much more effective.
But in the same token, too, if he can spot that fastball, it also makes his secondary pitches that much better. You have to respect it. And all of a sudden, if he does get behind the count, he still has that confidence. I can still spot this fastball and get a strike. And then he has that.
That's the splitter.
Yeah, there it is. You can see, he's lining this thing up right here. And the thing is, he's not trying to overthrow that pitch. He's just saying, well, I'm just going to make sure I keep it down, get the good rotation, and it's going to sink.
1 and 2, 2 outs. Tried to elevate that fastball and may have gotten away with one.
He got away with that one. I think he wanted to go a little bit higher up and away.
What does a splitter do for a pitcher? Why is it so effective?
Well, it looks almost like a fastball coming out of your hand. And then it's about the last 8, 12 feet is when it starts to get the dip. Some guys get it a little bit later, some get a little bit earlier. Bruce Sutter had such a great splitter that it would dip late. And his right here, he's got pretty good command of it. He's not overthrowing it, but it looks like a fastball coming out of your hand, and the hitters are reacting to that arm speed.
Now, and that graphic we showed about the fastball command really sets up the splitter.
Absolutely. And that's, he can live off that every day.
the more fastballs you throw for strikes, the more hitters think swing, and then that's when the splitters most effective.
And there it is. I mean, he's just looking for that rotation to get. It's almost like a screwball rotation. Pulls off with his middle finger, gets that ball to get almost that screwball rotation, but it looks like a fastball because the arm speed is there. The ball's coming out like it's a fastball, but it's harder to pick up that spin. And last second, it dips.
Another 2-2 pitch to Bautista. Off the end of the bat, that'll sneak through for a base hit. Bautista's aboard with a 2-out single.
That almost sounded like a broken bat single. And there it is again, a split finger. I mean, this one not as much down, and the Bautista stayed with it. I mean, hit it right off the end of the bat, good piece of hitting right there, and did exactly what he's supposed to with it. Hit it back up the middle instead of trying to pull it or go the other way with it.
He would gladly bury that broken bat in exchange for a base hit. Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin hit the pop-up that Dustin Ackley lost in the sun. It fell for a single. Looked like it was a splitter. He hit off the end of the bat and popped it up. It got lost in the sun.
That's a good slider right there. I mean, just come out there and good location.
Well, that's the true definition of a strike to ball breaking ball. It's in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, and then you offer at it. And it's
out.
gone.
It's out of the zone, and that's that command of saying, I trust where I'm going to, this ball's going to end up at, and it makes that pitch look so much better when you have the command of the off-speed stuff.
Well, we told you that Iwakuma was tough coming in this game, a 2-1 record. Opponents hitting 160 against him, and he had racked up 37 strikeouts in 37 2/3 innings. This has popped up down the right side. It's going to reach the seats.
I wouldn't be surprised here if he doesn't come back with that splitter right here, having Edwin trying to chase outside after that ball out there. Throw that split out there and see if it comes back and see if Edwin will chase on it.
Bautista at first. Chape had it clang off of him. That looked like another splitter.
That one he left up just a little bit.
Interesting pattern of pitches. The first two pitches were way out of the zone, and then he's made adjustments to get back in the strike zone. Another ball on the ground that sneaks into center. Bautista is headed for third. Saunders will throw it into second. Good job by Jose. He looked right in the eyes of Michael Saunders and said, "I'm going to third." So first and third with 2 outs, that'll bring Kobe Erasmus to the plate. And the last time with the bases loaded, he faced Iwakuma.
Yes, and he saw a split finger, another split finger in the lower position, and then another split finger. I mean, he just he said, "I'm going to throw split after split after split." And those are all right there. I mean, you can see where he started out with a strike and then went out of the strike zone to get him to chase after that split finger down in the zone.
Rasmus with runners at the corners.
That right there is exactly the same pitch. He just started him off with another split finger for a strike, and let's see if he tries to go back exactly what he did to him in the first at bat.
If you were Iwakuma, wouldn't you do the same thing?
Absolutely. Until it's a game of adjust and readjust, and if Colby's not going to adjust to me, I'm not going to adjust to him. That was a fastball there. He's, that's a show pitch from him. I think he's going to go right back to that split finger.
Looked like a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Ball and a strike, and Kelly Shoppick is asking Ed Hickox about that last pitch. Rasmus fouls it off right in the same spot.
Right, exact same spot. That was that split finger again. And now I think here's one where he's going to try to get it to go out of the zone.
Well, we have seen pitchers all season long get to this point and then elevate a fastball to Rasmus. And he's had trouble laying off. But you're right, Iwakuma's had so much success down today.
Yep. Start in the zone, then get out of the zone.
One and two. There goes Encarnacion. The ball is popped in the air. Andy Chavez, the left fielder, is there. And again, the Blue Jays can't deliver with runners in scoring position. They've had Iwakuma on the ropes, but can't come through. Seager, Morales, and Morris against Dickey when we come back. Injuries. Not only is Jabba Chamberlain out, but now David Robertson might be on the shelf for a while with a hamstring injury. So their bullpen has been clobbered lately with injuries. There's Ricky Romero. Good to see a smile on his face. He's been through a lot and has handled it very well. Had great 3 innings and then ran into a little bit of a problem in the 4th. But overall, I think he is headed back in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's something I think, it's. We talked about his confidence yesterday, and I think those first 3 innings are going to help build that confidence back up.
What he went through last year, certainly, if that didn't break you, nothing will. I think he can handle anything that comes his way.
Exactly.
Kyle Seager, the third baseman, lined up to left field his first time up. It is a spectacular day here at the ballpark. I got to tell you, this has been a long time coming, but it's gorgeous. Ari Dickey is in a groove. Tried to sneak a fastball by Michael Saunders in the first, and Saunders hit it out. Three and one. Dickey has retired 9 straight. Boy, when he's got that knuckleball, he throws a lot of them in the strike zone.
But, I think the thing is he's getting them, some that are breaking a lot, some that aren't breaking a whole lot. And like you said, he tried to sneak a fastball in the first inning, which, don't understand, but.
Oh, what a play by Encarnacion. That was headed down the right field line, but he snared it. That's 10 straight retired for Dickey.
Wow. That ball right there was hit right at him, and I think it was hit a little harder than I think Edwin anticipated, too.
He's used to those shots. He used to play third.
Yeah.
Kendrys Morales. You mentioned he's playing first base. He was the DH yesterday. Morales is a switch hitter. He was the MVP of the Angels in 2009. He had a record for the Angels, 34 home runs by a switch hitter. Previous mark was held by Chili Davis, who's now the hitting coach for the Athletics.
Always good to have power from both sides.
There's a base hit right through the left side of the infield. A one-out single for Morales.
The 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Michael Morris, the right fielder, will step in. That single by Morales snapped a string of 10 straight, retired by Dickey.
I just like his command of what he's doing today, and I like that he's getting ahead of the hitters. His pace is out, it's outstanding.
Yeah, you mentioned the tempo, and Dickey's got a very upbeat tempo this afternoon. He always kind of works quickly, but we saw it with Hernandez last night, and why does that serve as an advantage for a pitcher?
Well, I think once you get that time, that momentum, you want to keep that going throughout the whole game. And I mean, Hernandez last night was excellent with it. Dickey is excellent with it today. Outside of the little glitch of the home run, nobody's on their heels. Everybody's ready, balls in play, balls ready to go. And I think it's such an advantage for a pitcher to have that momentum and have that, that constant pace of going. And that, as a hitter, you want to try to disrupt that.
Dickey's ahead 1-2. He checked in plenty of time. That ball sails, and Dickey will do that from time to time. He'll throw that knuckleball that
it's almost like a
dart
zoom
upstairs.
It's like a zoom ball.
Two and two, 1 out. On the ground, Brett Laurie from third will go to first base and throw out Morris. Morales moves to second. Laurie looked at second, but didn't have a play there. He was going to have to throw it back across his body, and I think he did the wise thing.
Oh, absolutely. Don't give away outs. Make sure you get the ones that are right there in front of you.
So now the infield will pull around a little bit. Dickey waved Kawasaki back. Kawasaki was playing up the middle, and Dickey moved him back to a more conventional position at shortstop. Dickey, I'm sure, thinking, hey, I got anything back at the mound. You cover the hole at short.
Well, I think he saw that with Morales was hitting that hole there where they're playing him with that pull like that. He goes, you know what, I'm not going to, it's not going to happen. I'll try to get it to where he is going to hit the ball, either pull it or go the other way, not back up the middle.
Ibanez fouls it off the glove of Blanco. Ibanez grounded out to first his last time up. 1-0 ball game. Outfielders have to make note of Morales at second. He's not a good speedy runner, and if there should happen to be a base hit, you can have a shot at him at the plate. Ibanez works Dickey to a 3-1 count.
It'd be good right here too. Dickey not to give in here to Ibanez, to straighten something out for him. I throw him another knuckleball. You got first base open, and Ibanez actually in the past has hit Dickey pretty well. So I mean, I would throw in another knuckleball.
Now, once you get that far behind, you got a base open, and Kelly Shopek, he looked like he was lost trying to connect with that knuckleball last time, and he struck out. So Ibanez gets the walk. He moves to first. That's the first walk issued by Dickey this afternoon. And look at Dickey again, checking to make sure his defense is where he would like. Basically straight away. Kelly Shopek, the catcher.
That's not a bad pitch right there.
Shopek has played with the Red Sox, the Indians, Rays, and the Mets. Now Seattle. Blanco keeps it in front of him. Henry Blanco was with Dickey in 2010 with the Mets and caught him 10 games that year. He's caught all but opening day for Dickey and has done a good job with the knuckle. And all of a sudden Dickey can't find the strike zone. Well, this is where he has to be careful. Shopek is a very good fastball hitter, and he might just sell out and look fastball and I think green light, 3-0.
Yeah, in this situation, 3-0. I think he could do that.
And there's the walk, back-to-back walks. They come with 2 outs, and that'll load the bases. John Gibbons has had a little rough start to this season. The losses, of course, have been hard to handle, but even the wins have been grinders where he's really had to grind them out. Dustin Ackley goes after the first pitch and fouls it into the seats. Ackley caught looking at strike 3 to end the second.
I'm a pitcher. Him swinging at first pitch after walking 2 guys, I'd say thank you to him.
Yeah, it was a little curious, wasn't it? This is where Blanco's experience really pays off. Knowing the bases are loaded, you can't tense up at all behind there. Kendrys Morales at third, Ibanez at second, Shopek at first, and there's another one outside. After taking a big hack at the first pitch, Ackley has geared it back a bit. Three and one. They're not missing by much, but they're missing.
They're just missing, yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's hard on an umpire to see this knuckleball, but I tell you what, we're seeing the graphics here on TV, and it's, he is missing.
Ackley fouled it back. It's a full count. So with the bases loaded, the runners will be off. That's what Blanco's reminding the infield. Morales as well. Ibanez at second, Shopek at first. 3-2, 2 outs. Fly ball. Bautista is turning, and this ball is gone. Grand slam home run for Dustin Ackley. Comes on a 3-2 pitch. The control created a problem for Dickey as he walked 2 with 2 outs, and Ackley takes care of it.
It really wasn't a bad pitch. It was a knuckleball, and Dickey didn't give in to him, and try to sneak a fastball by him. Hit the knuckleball.
First career grand slam for Dustin Ackley. And the Blue Jays find themselves down 5-0. Andy Chavez, a ball and a strike. Dickey gave up 2 home runs to the Yankees in his last start. This is lined to the shortstop. Kawasaki makes the grab. The inning is over, but Dustin Ackley on one swing of the bat hits his first career Grand Slam home run and has given the Mariners a 5-0 lead. Vancouver, British Columbia, June 25th, 26th, and 27th at Nat Bailey Stadium. Blue Jays put on a Honda Super Camp. The instructors will include the Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar, Cecil Fielder, Homer Bush, Lloyd Mosby, Candy Maldonado, and Devon White. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Junior Jays Saturday here, a lot of kids on hand, and it was a spectacular day to come out to the old ballpark. Rajay Davis struck out his first time up, and he bunts this one foul. Trying to get on base, get something going. Iwakuma. Blue Jays had him on the ropes in the first inning. Bases loaded and 1 out. And Iwakuma struck out Rasmussen Davis to end the threat. They just haven't been able to come up with a big hit to give them some breathing room. And it seems as though, and I know it's not the case, but it seems as though that every pitcher is making perfect pitches.
You know what? It is, but it's also, we're also facing some pretty tough pitching. And, that's usually what happens when things go good. You're getting the number 4, number 5 starter. Things going bad, you get that, you get that number 1, number 2, number 3 starters.
Iwakuma has 4 strikeouts this afternoon, and last July he started against the Blue Jays, picked up his first major league win, and he had a similar success. 13 strikeouts against the Jays out in Seattle.
Well, you can see him right here too. He's just, he's painting everything here. The splitter's working great for him, like it is today. And I mean, same guys, same pitches. Almost same results.
Same results. Took him a while to move Iwakuma into the rotation last year. I don't think he's coming out anytime soon. He and Felix Hernandez give them a pretty potent 1-2 punch.
Just really good command is what it is. It's like nothing's in a hurry out there. If they go ball 1, they come right back with a strike. Or if they go strike 1, now they know they can work with that, work with the hitter a little bit, get him to chase some bad pitches.
Seattle, of course, in the American League West, they are 14-17 at the start of play today. Texas atop the West, game and a half ahead of Oakland. Little looper into left field. Andy Chavez has good speed. He makes an easy play of it. 2 outs. If you were to ask the casual baseball fan who won the American League West last year, I bet you they wouldn't say Oakland.
No, I don't think a whole lot of people remember that. I mean, right now I think a lot of eyes are on that Angels team, and that's how I think everybody would probably jump to and say, who won it.
Oakland wasn't in first place until last game of the season, and they came hard charging in the last 2 weeks of September. Henry Blanco, the catcher, hit into a 5-4-3 double play, albeit a disputed double play.
The mystery tag.
Well, Iwakuma, he is called upon different pitches in different situations. There he gets a slider in a good spot. And paints the outside corner with the fastball.
And that pitch they threw just before that little slider, made that fastball look like it's about 95 miles an hour.
One and two. Strike 3 called. Blanco. It's called out. 2 strikeouts an inning, 5 in the ball game. The Blue Jays are down 5-0. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Pizza. Saturday, May 25th will be the next Junior J Saturday. Blue Jays will take on the Baltimore Orioles. The game starts at 1:07 p.m. There are special kids prize tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com. Or you can always pick up your Jays tickets at most Rogers Plus locations. Robert Andino, shortstop, hits a hot shot. Good hop for Kawasaki. He throws him out, 1 down. So that'll go back to the top of the order in the first inning. Michael Saunders against R.A. Dickey.
And he tried to sneak a fastball here by him, and I'll tell you, that was just right down the middle of the plate. And Saunders did exactly what he was supposed to do with that pitch.
Michael Saunders is developing into a very good player. He dealt with a shoulder issue earlier in the season when he crashed into the wall, making a play on a fly ball. Had a great run with the Canadian team in the World Baseball Classic. I think that gives players an awful lot of confidence. They play representing their country. You have some success. You're playing against all-stars from other countries, and I think that's done some good for Michael Saunders.
I think it gives everybody, these younger guys a chance to see that they can compete with the guys that are, like you said, the all-stars of the MLB.
Saunders with a 3-1 count. Fly ball deep to right. Bautista looking up. Saunders has his second home run of the game. Michael Saunders, with the count in his favor, has hit 2 home runs off of R.A. Dickey. It's the second time he's had a 2-homer game at Rogers Center. He did it last April 27th. He hit 2 home runs in the game. And he's the 4th Canadian to have a 2-homer game in Canada. And he's done it twice now. There's a little pop-up. Istura shading his eyes from the sun makes the catch. Michael Saunders, his second 2-homer game at Rogers Center.
Yeah, and you know what? And Dickey, didn't give in to him here on the count. Still threw the knuckleball, but you can see on that the other replay that it was just tumbling a little bit too much and pretty much a flat knuckleball. And Saunders does the same thing he did in the first inning. Deposits over right field fence.
The list of Canadians that have hit 2 home runs in Canada: Larry Walker's done it 4 times. Matt Stairs has done it once. Justin Morneau has 2 home run games, and now Michael Saunders has a pair.
Pretty good list of characters right
bad.
there, huh?
Hey, Canadian ball players, and they seem to be more and more of them every day. Jason Bay had a home run last night. A couple of BC boys going deep here at Rogers Center. Morales strikes out, and that ends the inning, and everybody kind of lost track of the outs. Blanco threw it around the infield, but the Mariners have taken a 6-0 lead, and it's all on home runs. Saunders has a pair. And this has been a familiar theme. They come in 10 and 20, but this is strike 3. End of the inning, and look at all of the confusion. They're throwing the ball around the infield. Kawasaki has it. He throws it to Storis, and they didn't even know how many outs there were. I mean, that's hard to believe, but that's the way it's been. It's been frustrating. Everybody is really kind of baffled as to what's gone wrong, but you can't lose track of how many outs there are.
No. A little confusion out there on that right there, and it just something what's going on in the game is how many outs there are.
Munenori Kawasaki will bat in the 5th inning, trying to get something going. Blue Jays have 4 hits. The Mariners have 4 hits, but they've hit 3 home runs, 2 solo shots, and a grand slam. Hisashi Iwakuma has stranded 4 Blue Jays base runners, 2 in the first when they really had a chance to get things over. Actually, bases loaded in the first.
Bases loaded, that's right.
Kawasaki hits it high into right. Michael Morris has plenty of room. Now he comes in a couple of steps and makes the catch. We have talked about this often, Dwayne, and you've seen it over your career. When you have a good pitcher, and I'm going to put Iwakuma in that category, you have him on the ropes in the first, you better get him because he's going to sort things out.
Oh, absolutely, and that's something where, I'll equate that back to when I was playing. I mean, one guy that we really wanted to make sure we jumped on was Randy Johnson. If we didn't get him early, he started getting comfortable. And you can see it right here. Iwakuma right now is just, he's comfortable, he's cruising, and just throwing strikes. You don't let a good pitcher off the hook when you have him on the hook.
Yeah, and it's happened a couple times recently. Hiroki Kuroda in New York, CC Sabathia also against the Yankees. They were struggling early, but the Jays couldn't come up with a knockout punch. Brett Lawrie watches that one sail back to the screen. Lawrie has reached on a walk and flied out. Iwakuma threw the previous pitch back to the screen, and watch his reaction after this pitch.
That's just, he's just disgusted with himself. It's like, here I am. Yeah, stay squared up to my target.
He hits it right to the third baseman. He hit it hard, but right at Seager, and he's handled everything thrown his way.
Yeah, it's just something really quick for him to remind himself. Don't let that front side fly open too soon. Let's square it up. Let's get to where we got to. And then it's the very next pitch, right exactly where he wanted to throw it.
He made the adjustment on the mound. Didn't wait for his catcher to do it. He didn't wait for a pitching coach to come out. He made an adjustment and got right back where he wanted to be. 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th inning. Melky Cabrera's got a 1 for 2.
No, I think right here, he's looking at it saying, don't let that elbow come down low. I think he's fine here. I mean, he's lost no velocity, and he, right back into the strike zone like he always has, just right back into the strike zone. I think he just reminding himself, keep front side closed, don't fly open. I mean, it's almost like he throws it when he wants to throw it, and he's found his niche.
Got his release point back. It's 2-2, 2 outs. Melky Cabrera. Bouncing ball. Ackley to his right, rights himself and throws Cabrera out. Quick inning for Iwakuma. He's retired 7 straight. We'll go to the top of the 6th, and here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. action presented by TD in support of the Jays Care Foundation. Wednesday, May 15th, Blue Jays will take on the reigning world champs, the San Francisco Giants. The game starts at 7:07 p.m. Bid on exclusive Blue Jays experiences and one-of-a-kind memorabilia. Bidding starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time and closes 10 minutes after the final out of the 7th inning. Visit BlueJays.com/broadcast auction for more information. Michael Morris has grounded out twice this afternoon. Make it 3 times. Laurie, Encarnacion, 1 down. Ricky Romero, Brandon Morrow. Morrow will go to the mound tomorrow. He will take on his former team, the Seattle Mariners, and he'll go up against Joe Saunders, the left-hander. And the Blue Jays will head out of town. 4 in Tampa Bay and 3 in Boston. A 7-game road trip. Ibanez, the DH, is off to a slow start. Little looper into center field. Rasmus dives and can't make the play. It goes all the way to the wall. Ibanez is headed for third. The throw is cut off, and they'll run it back into the infield. Ibanez with his first triple of the season. Rasmus gave it everything he had, but once he missed it, it was academic. It was going to be extra bases, and Ibanez ends up at third.
It almost looked like when he took off after this ball that he had a beat on it for a second there, and then I think as he got closer to it, he goes, I'm not going to catch this running, so I better dive. But like you said, it's academic after he missed it on the dive. I mean, it's first-class effort right there. I mean, to try to go get that ball. I was watching him. It looked like he had a beat on it.
And there's a fair ball down the left field line. Kelly Shopik is headed to second. Ibanez scores, and it's a 7-0 Mariner lead. So Ibanez with the triple, and the fans are getting restless at Rogers Center. Kelly Shopik pick up the RBI, just his 5th of the season.
I think he was just picking out first pitch. I'm swinging, going to try to put this ball in play, and just happened to, hit a hard one right down third base line.
Dustin Ackley struck out in his first at bat and then hit a grand slam. And John Gibbons on the phone down to the bullpen. Home runs have plagued Dickey in his last 2 starts. Dickey, 3 home runs allowed today. That pushes his total to 8 on the season, but 5 of those 8 home runs have come in his last 2 starts.
2 against the Yankees and 3 today.
And home runs are always going to be a problem for any knuckleballer. If you can square it up, it's going to fly. And there's not much resistance on the baseball, but he gave up home runs last year and won the Cy Young. He strikes out Ackley for a second time. Brad Lincoln begins to loosen up down in the Blue Jays bullpen. Andy Chavez bounces it to second, and that'll end the inning. But the Mariners had a run. They've taken a 7-0 lead. follow games pitch by pitch and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry Z10. Season-long subscription packages are available for $19.99. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. At Bat 13 is the official app of Major League Baseball. R.A. Dickey talking to his catcher, Henry Blanco. And it looked to be very positive. It was almost as if to say...
It was a pleasant conversation. And, you know,
acrimonious there at all. He just kind of tapped him on the chest. Like, we'll get through this.
Try to get a point across about maybe, setting up or something. And then saying, okay, great, let's work on that.
So Bautista will step to the plate leading off, and that's never a good thing for the Jays. You don't want him leading off. Bottom of the sixth. Blue Jays were shut out 4-0 last night, and that was the trend in the American League East last night. Iwakuma with a good play. Hawk Hansen goes to first. Bautista's out.
The 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Edwin Encarnacion has a couple of hits today. Had a pop-up that fell in center field as a second baseman, Dustin Ackley, couldn't find it looking up into the sun, and then he had a single up the middle in the third. We mentioned the 4 shutouts by teams playing the AL East. Blue Jays were shut out by the Mariners. The Orioles were shut out by the Angels. The Red Sox shut out by the Rangers, and the Yankees were shut out by Oakland. It's only the second time since divisional play began in 1969 that the AL East division has had 4 different teams shut out.
That's a pretty amazing little stat right there, especially the American League East. You just don't get shut out here too often.
This is popped into right. Michael Morris, the right fielder, getting an angle on the sun and makes the catch. But it's interesting that all 4 AL East teams were shut out by AL West teams.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat there, and then for I think the length that it's been between shutouts like that in the American League East is pretty amazing.
The other time it happened was September 24th, 1976. The Brewers, Red Sox, Tigers, and Yankees all were shut out on that day. And the Blue Jays are being shut out again here this afternoon. Colby Rasmus.
Changed it up a little bit this at bat. Instead of starting him off with that split finger like he has, the first 2 previous at bats, he's starting him off fastball in. Throw him another fastball in.
It's 7-0.
Yeah,
he can do just about whatever he wants to do.
It's easy out there right now for him.
One and 2. Felix Hernandez went 8 innings and shut out the Jays on just 5 hits. Blue Jays have 4 hits against Iwakuma. Bouncing ball. Morales will go to the bag and beat Rasmus. Another quick inning for Iwakuma. He's retired 10 straight. R.A. Dickey's out of the game. head shake and another disappointing start for him. 6 innings, 6 hits. 3 of those hits left the ballpark, including a grand slam by Dustin Ackley. A couple of walks and 5 strikeouts. I don't know about you, Gordo, but I think he could have gone back out there and seen if he can't, sort things out.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, just people start seeing that number, 100 pitches, and I think a lot of times they say it's time to get them out. But, I like the way he started off, just a couple of bad pitches, and next thing you know is you're down 7-0.
Brad Lincoln has the first pitch strike to Robert Andino. Lincoln pitched on Thursday night. Andino 2-hopper to second. Lincoln has been back and forth between Toronto and Buffalo a couple of times already. Most recently recalled after Josh Johnson was placed on the disabled list. Blanco couldn't get on it before it trickled into foul territory. Michael Saunders has had a big day. Pair of home runs. Number 3 and 4 on the season for Saunders. Gets jammed with this pitch. Historis backhands to first in time. So Lincoln hits 2 ground ball outs to start his outing. Kyle Seager, who had 3 hits last night, has gone 0 for 3 so far this afternoon. The beauty of baseball. You can be a hero one night and a goat the next.
Absolutely, and that is the beauty of the game, is that the game is some days it's easy and some days it's real hard.
Cut on and missed. Lincoln's ahead 0-2.
Well, I like his approach coming into this game right now. Just basically go out there and just throwing a ball right here, saying, hit it if you can. It's a 7-run ball game. And going right after the hitters, not trying to pick at any corners.
Seager fights it up. Hits it into the crowd, which is a good crowd again this afternoon. 35,754 on hand. And certainly, Blue Jays would love to be able to play some good baseball and continue the momentum they've built up in the offseason, but it certainly hasn't diminished the interest the crowds have shown.
Beautiful day for a game. Really is.
So another foul into the seats, and there's a look at the crowd, and it is perfect. 18 degrees at the start of this afternoon. Seager strikes out. Lincoln retires the side in order in the 7th. Bottom of the 7th. The Jays with a lot of work to do. fans that received a free seat upgrade courtesy of TD. Great day, great opportunity to enjoy some comfortable seats. And over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, our guests from Camp Uchgas. Welcome to Rogers Center, and hope you enjoy the ball game. It's a spectacular day. Look like they're having a good time. Rajay Davis struck out twice so far in this game. Three and out. Poured that fastball right over the heart of the plate.
Yeah, a little uncharacteristic here, but going 3-0 right away. But he's been ahead of the hitters pretty much all day.
And Davis will take a leadoff walk. It's the first walk, no second walk. Check that. Laurie walked to start the game. 3 walks. And Sturz had a walk to start the second inning. And now the leadoff man's aboard here in the 7th. Meiser is Sturz. Imakuma's made some very good adjustments in the course of this game. A couple times we've seen him talking to himself about mechanics, and he can get himself sorted out in a hurry.
Well, you're always talking to yourself out there about mechanics. If you rush or if you're staying back, just to keep yourself under control and keep checking yourself out there. And him doing it, on the mound, in between pitches. I mean, when's a better time to do it?
Little chopper up the first base line that dribbles into foul ground. Been a while since the Blue Jays have had double-digit hits in a ball game, and they have struggled. You look at the American League average this season. I didn't see this coming. They're 15th in the league. That's last. The Tigers hitting 50 points higher as a team. And you can talk about pitching, talk about defense, but you got to hit to score runs.
If you're not hitting, you're not scoring runs at all. And that number right there, that 226, is really, what it's all about.
5 hits in the game yesterday, 4 hits this afternoon. They had 7 hits on Thursday against the Red Sox. Buchholz and 2 relievers held them to 4 hits on Wednesday.
Yeah, they're getting a couple of hits here and there, but just not bunching them together to cause some damage and put put a little pressure on that pitcher.
1-2. Davis at first. Chopped up the middle. And Dino has to go to first. He throws out Sturz, and Davis moves into second. You just wonder what's going on with Alex Anthopoulos and his front office staff as to their thinking coming into this game. The Blue Jays were 10 games under 500 at 10-20. And how long you wait to try to remedy the situation. I don't know what you can do. Obviously, a lot of these players are here for the long haul. They're traded for. You made a dramatic change in your philosophy, dealing away depth in the farm system. And quite honestly, you look at the past performances of these players. If they meet their past performances, we wouldn't be talking about a 226 batting average
at all. And that's something that, especially with the lineup that the Jays have right now, you see that number 226, you're going, there's no way these guys are hitting that low. So I mean, guys have got to start hitting the baseball, and as good as these guys are, Batista's, Encarnacion, even Laurie, his bat's come around here lately. I mean, you're going to see these guys. Rasmus has been swinging the bat really good, and they've run into two really good pitchers yesterday and today, and when Boston was in town.
Little looper into shallow right. Michael Morris will play it on a hop. It skips past him. Rajay Davis will stop at third, and Blanco ends up at second. Little flare off the end of the bat by Blanco. Drops in front of Michael Morris, and we've seen this often. First few days when the players are playing in open air, Rogers Stadium, the ball bounces and it catches them by surprise.
Exactly. I think that turf gets a little warmer with that sun on it. There's heads up play by Blanco there to take that, go to second base on it. I mean, I know the score is 7-0, but smart base runner.
Got to start somewhere. It is a double for Blanco. Davis at third, Blanco at second. Munenori Kawasaki. Kawasaki and Iwakuma were teammates last year with the Mariners, we mentioned earlier. And last July 2nd, when Iwakuma started, there were a trio of Japanese players starting in that game for the first time in Major League history.
Wow.
Ichiro, Kawasaki, and Iwakuma. Fly ball to center. This should score Davis. Saunders doesn't even think of home. He throws it to the cutoff man. Davis scores, and the Blue Jays are on the board. That snaps a streak of 23 straight innings the Jays haven't scored.
Would have been nice to see that in the first inning with two guys on and or bases loaded. I'm sorry, and just something to get a guy across the plate.
May have changed the complexion of this ball game. 7-1 now. Brett Laurie bats with Blanco at second. 2 outs. Laurie drives one to right. Morris has room in front of the warning track, and the Blue Jays are done in the 7th. They score a run, but Seattle has a 7-1 lead. We'll head to the 8th. So 5 p.m. Eastern on The Score. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Lots going on, of course. Sidney Crosby returned to the Penguins last night, but the Islanders
got him in the end.
Came back in the end. Crosby scored 2 quick ones, and the Islanders Young, scrappy team trying to make it interesting in that round. Brad Lincoln throws a first pitch strike to Kendrys Morales. High fly ball to center field. Erasmus ranging back on the warning track, just in front of the wall, and makes the catch. One down. Well, the Blue Jays have problems in many areas. We talked about the batting average and the rotation. It's gone through a rough stretch. This is updated. Last 9 starts. 0-5 record, ERA almost 5.5, and they've given up a lot of home runs. So, you know, it starts and ends with starting pitching, but the defense has been bad. The hitting hasn't been good. I mean, you can look at all the numbers, and they're near or at the bottom in most categories.
And you can find, you know, fault in a lot of different areas, but it does. You know, starting pitching is, you know, that sets the tempo and the pace for the game.
And that's what Alex Anthopoulos had on his mind when he went out and made the big trades and brought in Mark Burley and R.A. Dickey and Josh Johnson, thinking that you'd add 3 veteran pitchers into your rotation and it would give you the basis for a solid rotation, and it may still will be.
Yes, I mean, it's not like it's September 1st.
Yep.
It's, you know, just the first part of May, and I know RA is probably still trying to figure out some of the hitters in the American League. You know, Josh obviously on the DL, and you know, getting Burley back into where he, you know, gets out of the middle of the plate, get him on the, you know, inside outside where he likes to live and where he's always been effective. But to me, it's just it's a situation where these guys are going to start, you know, finding ways to get people out.
Morris checked his swing and fouled the ball off. I got to applaud R.A. Dickey. He is sitting on the bench. A lot of starters will go inside and kind of.
I know I had a problem when if I gave up some runs, I would go into the clubhouse.
I applaud that, and I don't know what he's thinking, obviously, but it certainly looks like, hey, you know what? I was part of this mess. I'm going to stand around till the end. Good for him. It's not an easy thing. There's nobody in that clubhouse that enjoys what's going on, that's for sure. And everybody's trying to figure out how you get it turned around. It is a tough thing. You and I have both been through losing stretches with good teams. And here Lincoln walks Morris with 1 out. I mean, it's not like these guys are coming out here every day and not working at it. We see them every day working hard. Guys are throwing side sessions like we saw with Ricky Romero here this morning. Extra BP. They're doing everything to think about.
Well, sometimes you just got to scratch your head and say, what else can we do to try to turn this around?
Well, and like you said before, nobody's going to feel sorry for you.
No, not at all.
You're going to go on the road to Tampa Bay. Ibanez, wicked cut, pulls it foul. The way it looks right now, the way I've looked at the rotation, it's going to be Hellickson, Roberto Hernandez, Matt Moore, and David Price in the 4 games at Tampa Bay. And then it just works out when they go to Boston and take on the Red Sox at Fenway. John Lester, Clay Buchholz, and Ryan Dempster, the same trio they saw here at Rogers Center. So it's not going to get easier. Nobody's going to say, oh, you know what, let's take it easy on the Blue Jays. That's not happening, folks.
Right now, what they're looking to do is trying to bury the Blue Jays every chance they get.
Ball on the strike. Good pitch. 95. Right breaking ball, and Ibanez strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Young fan trying on a new cap. come out the ballpark and enjoy the game with his dad. Kelly Shoppick had an RBI double in the 6th. This is popped into shallow right. Bautista coming in. Ball being blown away from him. He had a long run but stayed with it. So the inning is over. Now it's time for a Blue Jay Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com/sports to get started. Hisashi Iwakuma is finished, and he'll turn things over to Yorgis Medina, making his 6th appearance of the season. We knew that it was going to be a tough 1-2 punch that the Mariners were featuring to start this series, and Iwakuma has backed up a good effort from Felix Hernandez last night. Iwakuma goes in 7th and launches 5 hits. 1 earned run that came on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Munenori Kawasaki. Threw 110 pitches over his 7 innings of work. He bent, but he didn't break. He was in a situation where they had him on the ropes in the first inning with the bases loaded. In the 3rd inning, they stranded 2 more, but they just couldn't come up with a big hit.
And that's what it takes, in those situations, especially if the offense went that big hit in a key situation. And, he weathered the storm, like you said, in the 1st inning and the 3rd inning, and comes out at 7 innings, 1 run.
Melky Cabrera has been the DH this afternoon. He singled on the first pitch he saw. Hit a sharp single with the left and struck out and grounded out. Medina is 24 years old from Venezuela. He was signed as a non-drafted free agent, and he's a big fella. 6'3", 245.
Yeah, it's a pretty good fastball. I mean, he comes right at you, and here's Pete and repeat again. Just first pitch strike, get ahead of the hitters, and then go to work on them.
Whenever you see a young Venezuelan player or a Latin player that signs with the Mariners, you can look and find the name Bob Engel, a great former Blue Jays scout that has been a big part of the Seattle Mariners' success. Now he's with the Dodgers. But Bob Engel was a disciple of Pat Gillick's, and they had a lot to do with building this Blue Jays organization. And then Gillick went to Seattle. Engel followed him there. And You look at Hernandez, Bob Engel. Medina, Bob Engel. I mean, there are a lot of the Latin American players that were scouted and signed by Bob Engel. Felix Hernandez and Rick Griffin, the trainer. Griffin has been there 31 years. And he has been a fixture with the Seattle Mariners. Seen a lot of players come and go.
Well, that guy he's talking to right there, I don't think he's going anywhere for a while. I mean, I really enjoyed watching him pitch last night.
Felix Hernandez just signed a 7-year, $175 million contract to guarantee he wasn't going anywhere.
But I like the way he went about, his job last night.
Full count. Morales will go to the bag, and Cabrera is retired. One down. Talk about the Blue Jays offense. It's been a struggle for them. They've been outscored 24-3 in the last 4 games. And you face good pitching, but you've got to figure out a way to scrap and claw and score some runs. And home runs have been a problem. The Red Sox hit 5 home runs on Wednesday. They also had a 3-homer game on Tuesday night. Both been flying out of Rogers Center this year.
Well, sometimes the home runs don't really hurt you if they're just solo shots. But I mean, here we've had the grand slam, 2-run, 3-run shots. So those put you in a hole in a hurry.
0-2 quickly to Bautista. He pops this one up right over home plate. Kelly Shopik didn't identify quickly that it was right on top of home, but he found it in time.
That swing did not look good.
2-strike swing.
Yep, it was almost like an emergency swing, like, oh gosh, that's going to be a strike.
And he popped it right up over home plate. Chopik didn't see it initially off the bat, then located it. 2 outs. Edwin Encarnacion's gone 2 for 3 this afternoon. Medina in his first season in the big leagues pitched in Double-A last year. He worked as a reliever for most of the season. He made 1 start in Jackson, Mississippi, their Double-A affiliate. He turned 25 until July. Wow. They got some good arms in their pen. We saw the closer, Tom Wilhelmsen, last night. Carter Capps has got a big arm. Stephen Pryor was just placed on the disabled list. He throws about 100.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're young, and that's always going to be the plus. You say that so casually, Buck. He throws 100.
There's so many of them around now.
There is a lot of them out there. I tell you, it's amazing.
Yeah, there are an awful lot of guys. They're in the upper 90s, touch 100. But there weren't too many guys when I started playing that were 6'3" and 245.
Yeah, or 6'6", or 6'7". Yeah, exactly. That's something you cannot teach these days, the size.
Medina strikes out Encarnacion. The Blue Jays go down in order again. Been a familiar theme this afternoon. member of the Junior Jays Club. Members receive a Blue Jays cap, baseball, stationery kit, and front-of-the-line access to run the bases. Membership is only $19.99, so sign up today. The Blue Jays will have more information for you at bluejays.com/kids. Or call Blue Jays directly at 416-341-1715 and join the Junior Jays Club. Brett Cecil will come out of the pen to start tonight. Cecil's had a nice turnaround to his career. Found a place in the bullpen. You've gone through that transition yourself, Dwayne. You were a starter. You came up as a starter, and then you found a very comfortable spot in the bullpen. What's the transition like for a guy like Cecil?
I think the biggest thing is go out there. As a starter, you have a chance to work your way in and out of trouble. But as a reliever, you come in and you basically, hey, I got 1 inning to get the job done, or I got 2 innings to get the job done. And it almost takes all the thought process out as a starter as opposed to a reliever.
You certainly don't have any strategy. It's more tactics than anything.
It's pretty much what it is. To go out there and just say, what, I need to go right at these guys. I need to get, ahead of the hitters. Whereas I think starting pitching is a little bit more, tactical or strategic. Relief, you got to come in, throw the ball, get ahead of the hitters, and try to stop it as quick as possible.
Did you feel like the fewer pitches you were better off without giving the hitter a lot of information?
Well, the old saying is, overexposures cost a lot of guys' careers. But yeah, if I can get that guy to swing at one pitch, ground ball out, pop it up, I was happy. I've never struck anybody out with one pitch, so why try to go out there and strike him out with that? Get ahead fastball, strike or whatever. Can't strike him out until you get 2 strikes on him. So I'm looking to try to get this over with as fewer pitches as possible.
MB Chavez drives it to right. Bautista backs up. 2 quick outs for Brett Cecil. It seems as though he's much more comfortable. I think that he has just simplified things for him.
And that's a good word for it right there, simplified. And sometimes you get out there and you're thinking too much, you're trying to do too much, and it's not simple. It's not simple. It's more complex, and that's what you want to try to keep out of especially a left-hander's head is complex.
2 outs. Past Brett Laurie. Robert Andino has a base hit. Comes with 2 outs in the 9th. The drive of the game is brought to you by the 2013 Honda CR-V, an IIHS top safety pick. Honda is the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. And we're going to highlight Michael Saunders, and he has had a big day today. Started off with a second career leadoff home run off R.A. Dickey in the first, and then he got a knuckleball in the 5th. His second 2-homer game of his career here at Rogers Center. His 3rd and 4th home runs of the season. And here is Michael Saunders, 2 for 4 on the afternoon. Obi Rasmus on the run. That ball is over his head and up against the wall. Andino's getting the wave around third. Kawasaki's relay to the plate is not in time, and Michael Saunders has another RBI. He's driven in 3. And he has 10 total bases here this afternoon. 2 homers and a double.
That ball carried a lot further than I thought it was going to. And you can see, it's almost the same pitch that he pulled out of the ballpark, for the 2 home runs. When that was first hit, I thought Kobe was going to, chase that one down and catch it.
Looked like he had a bead on it, then it kind of took off over his head, went up against the wall in center. 8-1 Seattle. Cecil bounced that one from a home plate.
That was squeezing that breaking ball just a little too hard on him.
Henry Blanco with a quick visit to the mound. Cecil had a couple of fly balls to start this inning, and then Andino hit a hot shot past Laurie into left, and Saunders hits one off the wall in center. Kyle Seager's gone 0 for 4. Hit a line drive right at Encarnacion in the 4th. One and two, 2 outs. We are in the top of the 9th. It's been all Mariners. Blue Jays have been outscored by 40 runs here at Rogers Center. And so far this season, they are 6-11 in their home ballpark. Two and two. Blue Jays are going to fall to 10-21. Rasmus ranging to his right, and Davis calls him off and makes the catch. The inning is over, but the Mariners had a tack-on run against Brett Cecil. Season at jshop.ca. jshop.ca has the largest online selection of authentic Blue Jays caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JAYS-SHOP. Third pitch of the afternoon for the Mariners will be the lefty Oliver Perez. Yorvis Medina went the 8th inning. He retired the side in order. Now the veteran lefty Perez, who was a starter throughout most of his career. Perez, now 31 years old, has found a home in the bullpen, much like Brett Cecil. Perez has pitched as a starter with the Padres, the Pirates, and the Mets. 2007, he went 15-10 with the Mets as a starter and had a .356 ERA. He's had a lot of success in the big leagues.
Yes, he has.
He pitched the entire 2011 in Double-A with the Nationals, so you got to give him credit for
sticking it out, and and not giving up on on that journey back.
Perez in to start the 9th to face Colby Rasmus. No count. Rasmus will take the lead off walk. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Connected, here's Aaron Hawksworth. Great sports Saturday on tap. We got a lot of things going on. Baseball across both leagues. And, of course, the Stanley Cup playoffs are in full swing. And how about the first Saturday in May? Kentucky Derby.
Kentucky Derby, that's right. I think they're getting a little bit more into the 21st century with those hats down there at Kentucky Derby. I see a lot of those on the internet and everything else, and they're getting wild.
Rajay Davis. He has struck out twice and walked. Davis has scored the only Blue Jays run of the afternoon. He scored on the sacrifice fly by Munenori Kawasaki. There's a base hit into center. Rasmus stops at second. Blue Jays with their 6th hit of the afternoon.
Yeah, that's a good piece of hitting right there by Rajay. Tried to backdoor him with that breaking ball, and right there he just reached out, went out and got it, drove the ball hard up the center field, and sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to just stay with it, and hits are going to come.
Mark DeRosa comes off the bench. He'll bat for Meiser Stewardess. DeRosa, as a pinch hitter, has gone 1 for 3. DeRosa would have seen a lot of Oliver Perez. They both spent time in the National League, and he is 5 for 9 with a home run against the Mariners left-hander. DeRosa batting 156 on the season. He's had 5 hits in 32 at-bats. Oliver's got a little more giddy up on his fastball since he's gone to the bullpen.
Yes, and I think it's just from that, pitching 1 inning at a time or facing that lefty, that specialist, it gives you a chance to really conserve a lot of that energy. As a starter, you're pacing yourself. I mean, you can't go out there and go hard at every pitch like you can as a reliever, and I think it's going to benefit him.
.93, but well off the plate.
Looked like he tried to quick pitch there a little bit.
Now the umpires didn't pick up on it. Obviously, you have to come to a set position with runners on base. It's something we have seen Ismail Rogers do. But you have to have a stop at some point with runners on.
Good at bat right here for DeRosa.
Been a while since he's had an opportunity to get a couple of bats in a game. He was a DH in New York in one game. Bouncing ball toward the hole, and Dino rights himself and goes to first. He gets the shootout at first, and the runners move up. LaRosa's retired 6-3. That's the first time of the inning. Henry Blanco had a bloop double in the 7th. That led to the Blue Jays run. It pushed Rajai Davis from first to third, and Davis would eventually score on the sac fly.
It's 8-1, but it'd still be nice to see a timely hit right here. Just to get that feel of what it's those timely hits are all about.
The Jays are 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. They've stranded 6. And Dino at short, and he took his time and kept Rasmussen from scoring. He was looking right at Colby Rasmussen, and Colby thought about coming in on the play. And Dino probably wouldn't have thrown it home.
I don't think he would have. I think he would have conceded the run on that right there. But he also knew he had Blanco running, so he had some time. Which really, I think Andino probably, hesitated because he goes, oh, he didn't go. Because I think he would have conceded it.
So J.P. Arancibia will come off the bench and bat for Munenori Kawasaki. Arancibia not starting today with Dickey on the mound. Two outs, runners at second and third. Arancibia lines to second baseman Ackley. That's the ball game. JP hit it hard, but it was right at the second baseman. Perez closes out the 9th and protects the game for Iwamura. Iwakuma's the winner. He improves to 3-1 on the season. Big game for Michael Saunders. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Stay tuned. Connected coming right up.